Welcome to Essential Ingredients, powered by Next Gen Purpose. EI serves up thoughtful conversations with industry leaders and pioneers who support a regenerative future for our food system. The stories shared by our guests are meant to spark curiosity and inspire informed global change. Hello and welcome to Essential Ingredients. I'm Justine Reichman, your host. With me today is Simón Sacal. He is co-founder and CEO of Solely. Welcome, Simon.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here.
I'm so pleased to have you here. I was just eating your product the other day. I'm a big fan. And when I got the email that you were going to be on the podcast, I was excited because many times I get all these products that I don't know, and I did know your product.
So that's a good start.
It was a great start, So for those not familiar with Solely, Simon, could you just give a little intro as to what Solely is?
Yeah, of course. So Solely is a brand that's meant to be a platform for clean food coming from the source, clean, indulgent food alternatives, especially for produce.
Okay, so and 20 years ago when you started this, clean food was not the hot topic it is today. It was important and it was starting to become a conversation, but why was this so important to you and what inspired you?
So it started a bit differently 20 years ago. 20 years ago, it started by we invented a technology to make fat-free potato chips, which 20 years ago was the real thing. The definition of healthy was how much fat a product had. I don't know if you remember. Everything was.
I do. I remember eating that in college. All
Exactly.
the fat-free stuff you could eat, but somehow I used to gain more weight.
Exactly. That's at the end of the 90s. So inventing a technology to make a fat-free potato chip was a huge deal because it was like the holy grail at that time, because you could eat all the sugar in the world, you could drink whatever, but you couldn't eat potato chips because they had a lot of fat. So it was inventing that technology was the start of the company and of understanding that good and bad in food was not really well defined, and but that's how it started. And we launched a product in Mexico, and then the market started to change into more clean label. Everyone started to talk about clean label. Before that, everyone started talking about Atkins again. Well, re-talking, I don't know if you remember South Beach Diet, Atkins. And so once again, carbs were bad and fat was good. And so we lived through all these fads that changed the way people understood what's good and bad. And then we understood that in reality, there's a natural definition of good and bad in food. And it's whatever we've been eating as humans for thousands of years, that's good. If we crave for a fruit, that's because you need what comes with a fruit. And we've adapted as humans, and nature has adapted the products for us to be nurtured by them. So people started talking about clean label more at the end of the 2000s, 2009, 2010. I remember in 2011, 12 that I saw on the same 3 months, I saw CEOs of huge companies, Pepsi and Kraft, and talking about clean label. And basically what happened is that millennials started growing up and having kids, and are the first they had a lot of access to information because of the internet. And they started understanding that there were so many additives to foods that were doing huge harm. And then there were these huge exposés on big companies that they knew that some ingredients were bad, that carbs were causing extra processed foods were causing specific illnesses. And so it was a natural return to food, so to real food. And I lived through all these changes of fads. Now this is bad, now this is good, now it's all about gluten-free, now it's all about kale for a big while. I don't know if you remember in New York, everyone was trying to eat kale.
Like, what was it?
Kale.
Kale, yes, kale. I do.
Flaxseed and then kale, and then something is bad. But while we were getting all these fads, it was good for companies, for some companies, but we never saw that people got healthier. The opposite, if people got fatter and unhealthier. And so it was counterintuitive. So we understood that we had to return to nature. And by then, we have built a small company by then, but we had a lot of contact, first of all, with farmers and sourcing. And we had a very good R&D department that we've invented and patented technologies and built machines. And so we were in a very good position to try to do something better. So the way that all this started was there was a problem in Mexico with lunchbox programs, because they didn't include fruit, because it's very difficult to distribute massively fresh fruits and vegetables, especially if there's rural schools where they don't have power or even running water, so it's impossible to just send a truck with apples because they get rotten. It's just impossible. So we started working with fruit because there was a big opportunity to solve that problem. So we invented and patented a technology to make fruit bars out of apples first, but with a very special process we still own the patent, that lets you keep all the nutrients of the original apple, because it's a very mild process. It's not aggressive. So that's how we started working with fruit, and changed from fat-free potato chips, which were basically all natural as well. But that's where we shifted to this fruit world. And it took off first with local statewide programs, and we were really solving a problem for the government. And then we needed to balance. So in reality, fruits and vegetables are seasonal.
Right.
That's not what we experience here in the US. Like you can go to a supermarket and there's always apples, and there's always...
We always have fruits from Mexico, right? And you have them from all over because they bring them in whenever they're not available here. It's like in New York, you never know what's actually local, because people are just buying, they want everything. So they bring it in from everywhere, so you have access to everything, although you should really eat what's growing at that time.
Exactly. So that's not what happens in nature. In reality, there's a season for apples, and then there's a season for mangoes, and then there's a season for pineapples, etc. So long story short, we were working a lot with apples for these lunchbox programs. And by the way, it's a huge program. There's times that we do more than 1 million
Wow.
apples per day to little children through these programs. So it's a big thing. It grew a lot. And then, but the apple season is only in the winter. So we needed to do something in the summer. So we started working with tropical fruits, and it was pretty shocking that the consumption of, let's say, dried mango here in the US 10 years ago, it was 90% coming from Asia, and it was mango with sulfide dioxide,
Right.
with a lot of added sugar. Like, I don't know if you remember the little blisters with the mango glow in the dark that were everywhere. And that's what people were eating. And there's a reason. And the reason is because it's very difficult to make all natural products, because you have to control the input of the fresh fruit. It has to be perfect. And selecting perfect fruit in industrial quantities is very difficult.
Right.
So, but we had all this relationship with the farmers, and so we could do that. We were local there, and we started doing that, and we started exporting to Europe, dried mango, pineapple, and that's how the company started to evolve. And then in around 2014, 2015, we developed a new technology to make a product like this, which was a paste. So the first time we tried this, it was like a mass of pineapple, but it was amazing because the pineapple, the whole room smelled like pineapple, and it was bright yellow, and it was beautiful. And it's very, very difficult to do that without adding flavors or sugars or anything else. So it was a time when everyone was starting to talk about clean eating, clean food, and we couldn't resist it. And we made a brand out of it called Solely, and we started by doing some tests in Mexico, very small tests, and then we launched here. I moved to San Diego to head this effort.
What year was that?
I moved here in summer of 2018.
2018.
And we had a hard, well, luckily, this is a family company. So my brothers are in Mexico, and we could separate a bit and divide and conquer. So I moved here in summer 2018. We had a very, very soft launch at the end of 2018, and then we had a hard launch in September 2019. That's when Solely really launched.
Simon, I have about a zillion questions for you.
Please.
So I so appreciate you sharing your story, because I think first it talks to the kind of product you have and how far you've come and the integrity of it. And that's so important to really learn about these products, especially for founders that could be listening that want to grow their product, and to really understand how it's changed from potato chips to what it is today, and to see how a company can grow and pivot as times change, right? But in your last comment, you mentioned it's a family business, and one of the first questions I had that I wanted to ask you was about your co-founder, which I now learn is probably a family member, right? And is it your brother?
My two brothers, yes, we're three brothers, and yeah, we co-founded Solely together.
Solely, you solely co-founded.
Yeah,
Kind of a joke. You solely co-founded.
Yeah, exactly.
And what is it like to work with your family? I worked with family, so I'm curious what your experience is like.
It's the best thing in the world if you make it work, because it's extensions of yourself, so you can really cover a lot more. It's people you can trust blindly. And I'm very lucky to have very, very smart brothers, and that's very good people. But it's tough as well, because you never stop working. There's never family time. There's all these feelings as well. So it's not easy, but it has a huge, it's amazing if you make it work. It has a huge reward if you can make it work. So it has been very good. And my father, from the start, used to work also with us, and now he's a little bit more looking from the distance. But it was also a big part of it to learn from his experience, and it's hard, but it's good.
And my question to you is, you mentioned, because you're always together, and sometimes maybe the boundaries are blurred between business and pleasure. Did I understand correctly? Like sometimes,
they're always blurred. It's not even sometimes. They're always blurred, because when you meet, you're always talking about the business. You're always thinking about the business. So, and also when you're at the business, you're always family. So they're blurred. And I think it's something that you have to recognize. I don't think it's something you have to fight with, because it is what it is. So you better recognize and work with it. And that's the way to solve it.
Yeah, no, I used to work for my mother for years, 100 years ago. She had a financial services company. And for many years, we'd go see clients, right? Her clients were Verizon and, large companies, right? And my challenge was, because I was the daughter and I'd worked there for many years, I never wanted to call her mom.
Oh.
So you just say, excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me.
I understand. Yeah.
Because I was young. I was in my late 20s, I didn't want to say, excuse me, mom. Meeting with the president and the CEO and the VPs of people, I felt like I was a child, right? Excuse me, mom.
Yeah.
And then when I was the vice president of her company, when she was, semi-retired, it just felt weird, because I just was quite young at that point, Anyway, so.
Yeah, no, it has huge challenges. Working with family has huge challenges, and it's very difficult to make it work. But if you're lucky to make it work, it's a huge advantage.
Are there any recommendations you would make for anybody listening that works with family, like things that you have found that, tools that you found to make it work with family that you might recommend?
I think there are two things. Be very transparent, like all the agreements, do it by writing. Be very, very transparent and clear of how the relationship works legally. I think that's important, because sometimes people feel that something is wrong, but they don't say it. So making everything so very clear, that's step number one. And second, invest a lot in communication, because there's a lot more emotional noise between the communication and the communication on with family. So it's very important to be extra aware of what you're saying, what is the other person saying, what are you feeling. I think cleaning communication channels is a huge deal.
Yeah, I think communication can be the root of so many good and positive, and as well as evil things in the same way, right? Depending on how you use it.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
So I want to go back to the beginning. 20 years ago, you started Solely, right? And we know food was big at its time, but why was food so important to your family at that moment?
It wasn't. My family wasn't in the food business. I just thought that it was that there was a very clear, transparent opportunity in the market, and I wrongly thought that it was an easy way, it was an easy path, because food is so tangible. Like everyone eats, everyone can comment. It's mistakenly thought of as an easy path forward. And it's not. It's a very complex industry, and there's so much that we learned. But I just saw an opportunity on that area, because in Mexico 22 years ago or 23 years ago, there were no healthy alternatives for on the go. So that's the reason.
And then so you decided to be, you were a visionary. You're like, we need healthier options. And I got to tell you, when I lived in Mexico, there's still a lot of unhealthy options there. There's a lot of, even all agua frescas have sugar in them. Yeah. Everything, there's a lot of stuff with sugar around you. Yes,
I think, but at the same time, it's more culturally I think it's harder to go to healthier options in Mexico than here in the US.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I missed it.
I think that culture-wise, it's harder to introduce a healthy product in places like Mexico than here in the US. Here, everyone is open to trying new healthy products, and Mexico and Europe are more difficult, are more about traditional food, are more, the market is more price oriented as well. So it's a difficult market for healthier alternatives.
Well, it's interesting you say that. I mean, I think one of the interesting topics that I've been investigating, if you will, these days is the impact of culture on the future of food. Because as you bring culture into it, right, whether it's Mexico, whether it's Spain, whether it's France, whether it's New York, the US, right, and people's traditional food, it may not be the healthiest form in its original formats. But what would it look like if we took the culture, the original format of that food and tried to create a healthier version of it? What would that look like, and how would people respond to
it? I think that's difficult, because also culturally in Mexico, as you said, the refrescos are now everyone have them. And even the diet alternatives, people still think that they're healthier, which evidence shows they're not. So it is difficult. I think culture shifts. What I really think is that food has to be indulgent, and that is the main thing. So you can like or not like mango, for example, but if you do like mango, you will love a mango fruit jerky, because it's only made of one whole fresh organic mango. So if you can do this at any level, then you give alternatives, healthy alternatives to people. But if it tastes like cardboard, or it has an aftertaste, or you can only sustain that for a while. It's not sustainable.
It's like the diet drinks. To me, they have I don't like the aftertaste. That to me would not be a sustainable option. I mean, I don't drink regular soda, but I would not drink a diet soda because I don't like the aftertaste of aspartame.
Me neither.
Right.
And if you go deeper than that, we now know that all these artificial sweeteners cause a lot of damage, and there's a lot of chemicals that cause other damages, and you end up with a very, very bad product. And it's not only about the aftertaste, it's about
Your health.
natural product that is indulgent, and third, that is priced accordingly to the consumer's reality.
Right.
You cannot, even if it's an amazing product and it's very clean and very indulgent, if it costs $10, then yeah, some people will buy it, but it cannot be massive. So that's the reason that we had, in order to bring this to the market, it took us 20 years, because we have to build a vertically integrated supply chain and go to the farmer and work with them and buy all the ugly fruit when no one was talking about ugly fruit, and help them convert to organic and help them get better yields. But by doing all that and eliminating middlemen, you can have a mango that is perfect and that is priced correctly. And then we invented a process to go from a fresh mango again to this. And then we had to build the machines and build the plants and hire all the people, and then you can do the brand. So it's a very different approach.
Yeah, no, but it's a smart approach, and it allows you to create a better for you product at a price that's accessible with a product that's better for you. So I think it's a win-win-win.
I think, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but there's a very, very important change. I think that what we're doing with Solely is not a better for you product, but a good for you product, which has a very different connotation. So when you're talking about a soda that you were saying, and okay, there's a regular one with a lot of sugar, and the better one with...
I'm not sure I'd agree with this statement. I don't think that there's any better for you sodas.
I agree. I agree with that. But I was just giving an example of better for you. I completely agree with you. But I was just giving an example of better for you.
But you're right. I just want to acknowledge, I actually read the ingredients on your Solely package, and there's literally like an ingredient. It's very transparent. It is what it says it is. There's nothing more.
Exactly. I think no, and the ingredient is
pineapple, coconut,
fresh pineapple, and that's it. And there is no, it's deeper than that, because the ingredient is an organic pineapple. So there is no filler. There is no, I don't know, an apple paste that has a lot of pesticides. There's no, it's what I want my 3-year-old to eat. It's just the organic fruit with all the fiber, with all the nutrients, so it's a completely different paradigm. And that's very difficult to communicate to consumers, because especially here, everyone's used to the better for you alternative. So this is better because it has vitamin C, or this is better because it has less calories. So everything that we do at Solely, we believe that it's good for you. For example, we just launched a pasta.
Oh, I have that. Is that the spaghetti squash?
No,
that's different. That's the fusilli. Okay, I don't have that one.
It's made out of organic green banana.
Oh,
that's the only ingredient, and it has a texture very close to a pasta. It has but you're eating a green banana, which is a banana without the sugar because it's green, and so it's good for you. You're having a very healthy produce as a pasta. So it's something that you would tell your kid, oh, have more of this, because it's something, it's not just have a little pasta if you eat your chicken, or it's have more, because this is the healthy part of the dinner. So that's what we do at Solely. Everything that we do is first very indulgent, well priced, and clean to a level that it's good for you. But it's so difficult to make a one ingredient product. It's counterintuitive, but it's a lot more difficult than to have a product with 100 ingredients and have the stabilizer and the sugar and the preservative and the et cetera, et cetera.
So I have two questions before we wrap up, and they are kind of big questions, but there's two that I got. And the first one is, I mean, these products are really inspired. They're very innovative. I mean, banana pasta. Who comes up with this? I mean, tell me about the research and development behind this, and how you come to hire these teams that are so innovative to come up with these products. Or are you the man behind these really innovative ideas? And how do I get the banana pasta? Because I didn't see that in the store. My brother
Gabriel, that runs the factory in Mexico, now runs, well, in Costa Rica, now runs R&D department. And the first patent I did it myself, and the second I did it with my brothers, and now Gabriel runs that department. And we have the thing is that we have built a system that is that works by itself, because we have the sourcing. So we have a lot of fruits and vegetables coming in. And we have an R&D department that tries things all the time. What if we do this? And what if we do that? And we're not binded by whatever a co-manufacturer can make. So we have the machines. We have a very good lab. So it's a trial and error.
I mean, how do you come up with trying a banana for pasta?
Yeah, it was a crazy idea.
I mean, that's not... I mean, spaghetti squash, I get, right? But like that's not, I think I like it. I'm just saying that I've seen or I've heard of, but this is very innovative.
Yeah, so it's about having this conversation of, my kids only eat pasta, or not mine, but having that conversation with someone, and how would you be happy as a parent? And on the other side, we opened a manufacturing facility in Costa Rica, and we have a lot of banana. And sometimes we buy it green. So we started experimenting with the green banana. What can we do with it? How does it taste? And we had the pasta in the market, the spaghetti squash in the market. So it all adds up, and trial and error. And this was Gabriel with his team's idea, and it worked. And we also work very closely with some of our retail partners, and sometimes they tell us, "Hey, I need an alternative pasta because that's growing," and we have some research, and that's the way we develop new categories.
I can't wait to try it. I haven't seen it. Where do I get it? How do I get it?
It's at Whole Foods and online as well.
Okay.
And we're starting. It's very, very new. It's a couple months in, and we're starting to distribute to other retailers. And I think it's an amazing solution, because you're eating a salad instead of pasta, but you can put a sauce on it, and it is a pasta. So it's a cool thing.
So, okay, I can't wait to try that. And you're going to have to share some recipes with us of some of these things that you make, maybe with your family or your brother, somebody that we can share with our listeners or our viewers, because I think they're going to want to see how that steak does.
That's a very good point. We share recipes all the time, and at our website, solely.com, and at our Instagram account and Facebook accounts, we have a professional chef. We share recipes all the time. And we have 4 lines of products. We have the fruit jerkies, which are, I think, the best solution to having fruit on the go. And it's a moister experience than having dried fruit. We have a dried fruit line with some specialties, like this one has 100% cacao drizzle.
I haven't seen that one either. Those are not offered by me.
This
The
is
the only ones I've had are the pineapple with the cayenne, the regular pineapple, and then the pineapple jerky.
Oh, no. This is an amazing product. This is
I need to get I need a whole thing of everything. I need a different store or something because I don't have access to it. I feel very not in the know here in my area.
So all of these products, most of these are at Whole Foods, at CVS, at Walmart.
Do you sell them online too?
Yeah. Online, of course.
Okay, so everybody can get them at solely.com.
Solely.com or
CVS,
Amazon.
Walgreens, and Whole Foods.
The CVS, Whole Foods.
Okay, I shop at Good Eggs. This is my problem.
I think we do sell them, but not all the line.
I think that's the problem. I go to Good Eggs.
So you should ask them to bring all the line.
I will. This is what I do. Now that I know all your lines, I'm going to email them and be like, can you get A, B, C, D, and E?
So the jerky, we have 11 different SKUs, and we have like a banana with pecan that tastes like a banana bread. We have the mango, the pineapple coconut that you like. We have a lot of products. And dried fruit, we have a lot of products as well. We have with chili and salt. We have with 100% cacao drizzle. So you have the chocolate experience.
I feel like you're just teasing me now. Now it's just like a big tease.
So, and I think one of the most innovative lines that we have are the gummies or fruit bites. So this product is amazing. This product is made only of whole organic mango and a little bit of vitamin C, but they have the texture of a gummy and the taste of a gummy, but there's no gelatins, no colors, no preservatives, no sugar added.
You know what? That's a really big deal for people that are vegan and don't like the gelatin in it too.
That's a huge deal. Or for kids, this is good for you in terms of you're eating whole organic fruit, right, but as if it was a candy, a gummy. So this line is amazing. We're so excited about this line, and it's doing great. And it's priced very, very aggressively. So we have the 4 lines: the jerky, the dried fruit, the gummies, and the pastas.
Awesome. So let me just get back to my one other question, because remember I said I had 2. The other question I had was, when you built your company, you were with your brothers, you're scaling up, you went from potatoes to
fruit,
to solely fruit. What was it like to build that team? Because you had to, either raise money. I don't know if you did it privately, or then you raised money, but then you also had to, build your team and get those advisors and get those people around you. And, I know it's a bigger conversation, but just for those people that are looking to do that, because, just if you could give a little insight as to what it was like for you to go out there and do that. I think it would be really insightful for people to hear, because you've grown and you're a big success now, and it can be scary for people and they don't know where to start. So
raising money is a huge deal. We decided to go with a very capital intensive business model because we build manufacturing facilities. We have a lot of people working with us, and that's the way we grew. So we needed to raise a lot of money. So my advice is go at it with your eyes wide open, because you're really getting in bed with the investor for a long time, and you need good people to be at the table with you, and good-hearted people and people that bring value, and there are. And so it's very important to be very selective and do it with your eyes open. And there's always a lot of money, especially here in the US, but everywhere in the world. There's a lot of money for good ideas, for good products. So that is not an unbearable obstacle. That's something that's easy, but it's possible, not easy, but possible to overcome. It's just a hard and long process. And we've been doing it for a very long time. But the advice here is you are the one who has to make a due diligence on who you're inviting to their company, not only the other way around, because it is for a long time and it really affects the company. If you have the right people sitting at the table, everything is better. You get a lot more opportunities, and that's very important.
Would you say that when you were looking for investment, that you were looking for both financial and human capital? Would that be sort of the way you would sum it up a little bit?
So I've done many rounds. At the beginning, I didn't understand that so well, but I was very, very lucky to have always very, very good partners. Always. And that's, it was not that I was very smart. I was very lucky. And then once I started to understand how it worked, it was easier for me, and how important that was. It was easier for me to select better partners. So I think a good advice is start with your eyes open. It's not their decision only, it's your decision mostly, because for a good idea, there's a lot of money.
Okay, and I really appreciate you sharing that, because I know that it can be a tough road for many founders, and it can be overwhelming and daunting even, as to where to start and how to approach the process. And so once you have this money, or even before you have this money, many times people need to, sort of figure out how to surround themselves with the experts that they need. And that can involve advisors and mentors. What was that process like for you? I mean, I know you had your family, but how did you approach that?
So I think 3 ways. One is trying to hire really experienced people. That's very important. Very, very important. That's a difference for everything. We are blessed to have an amazing team. There are a lot of people that have a lot more knowledge than me in many areas, and that's the only way that a company works. Mm-hmm. So I think that's crucial. And then when you're raising money, also, if you have first filter is good people that you share values with. I think that is the most important. But second, if you can also choose people that has experience, and maybe not in specifically food, maybe in the financial part, or in the structural part, or in the strategic part, or I think that helps a lot. It changes everything.
Yeah, I think that's really helpful, because I think oftentimes we're not sure what kind of experience we need. I often look at it like, as the visionary, right? I think I have the larger idea, and I surround myself with the people that have the skills that maybe I lack or don't have that specific expertise in.
Exactly.
So that they can help take that vision and help execute it in a way that, so that we can, as a collective, as a team, bring that to life.
Exactly. That's exactly the vision.
So wonderful. Oh my gosh, Simon, this has been amazing getting to know you, hear all about Solely. I can't wait to try the plethora of products you have. So what's new and what's next on the horizon for Solely that we haven't heard about or that's in the pipeline?
So new is the spaghetti, the
banana spaghetti. Okay.
We just launched this a few months ago, and that's what's new. we're working on new flavors of the gummies that are coming soon, and new jerky varieties. And long term, there's a couple of categories we've been experimenting for a couple of years, but it's still, the coin's still up in the air about which is the next one that we'll go to.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciated it. And I can't wait to try all your other products that I have yet to try.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for your time and enthusiasm, and this was great. Thank you so much.
To learn more about these episodes and access show notes, go to nextgenpurpose.com and choose podcast. If you like this episode, head to Apple Podcasts or your favorite platform to subscribe and leave us a review. Visit the Next Gen Purpose YouTube channel to subscribe to our EI videocast and give this episode a like while you're there. Follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn at Next Gen Purpose, and connect with me on LinkedIn or Instagram at Justine_Reichman. Thanks for joining us.